Hi, my name is Allison Scranton, and today I'm going to talk about the dispositions that make a successful teacher and a couple different things about that. The dispositions that I possess that I think will make me a successful teacher are high expectations. I believe all children are capable of learning. I believe that intelligence can be defined in many different ways and that each child holds some form of intelligence. It's my job as a teacher to help them identify what they're good at, what they love to do, or what they're passionate about. Another disposition that I think I hold would be respect for the diversity of others. I believe that children are so different from each other, and that's always something to be celebrated. We all have different life experiences, backgrounds, places we come from, and they all make us special. We should use those things to lift each other up and embrace each other. I love to celebrate the differences between children, but I also love to find similarities and things that can unite them as a group together. Another disposition would be reflection. I think reflection is crucial in the process of growing and becoming better. We need to constantly look at what we're doing to know if there's ways to do it better or to be more effective. If I need to make changes or adapt to be more effective, then those are things that I'll do. I'm someone who loves to look at results and to see where I can grow. And as a teacher, I know I'll be the same way. I love to look at those results to see if what I'm doing is effective or if I need to change my strategies. Curiosity. I think curiosity is so important, especially in learning. My goal as a teacher is to foster desire to love learning, not to memorize a bunch of stuff, but to just love learning. And that comes from curiosity. Kids have questions, and I love to spark those questions with more questions. Well, let's go find that out together. How can we search that? I think those are so important to instill in kids, is just a love of learning and to figure out what they're interested in. Once they find those things that they're interested in, helping them ask questions and then getting answers to those things is super important to me. Dedication is another disposition. I'm someone who puts my whole heart and soul into whatever it is I'm working on. So I know that I'll be like that as a teacher. Even when I'm frustrated or like things aren't going the way I anticipated, I tend to still be the person that puts on a good face and has a good attitude until it's over. So as a teacher, I know that even when I'm frustrated or when my lesson plan is not going how I expected it to go, that I'll still be effective and I'll still be a dedicated teacher. The dispositions that I think I need to work on in order to become a successful teacher are fairness. I tend to struggle to see what fairness looks like among students, especially when, as we talked about, learning is so diverse. In the dispositions, it talked about assessments and creating fair assessments, and that's really hard for me to understand, especially when intelligence looks so different among different children. So I'll need to understand further what a fair assessment looks like in order to really feel that I'm being a fair teacher. I would also say honesty. Although I would say I'm an honest person, I have a tendency to tell people kind of what they want to hear or sugarcoat the truth. It always comes from a good place, but it's hard for me to get those hard conversations out. So I think I need to grow in honesty, especially when I'm talking to students about things that they need to grow in or the weaknesses that they have, and also when talking to their parents. I tend to get intimidated pretty easily, especially by parents. So I'm going to need to grow in my honesty in order to talk to parents truthfully, but also still keep that compassion that I know that I have for them. These dispositions help demonstrate my ability to understand other cultures, genders, and learning differences, to build stronger relationships with students and families by focusing on each individual child for who they are especially, and not for who I perceive them to be or what I'm told they are, but to really get to know each individual child as a unique individual. I think potential bias can get in the way for a lot of teachers. We tend to have our own biases and project them onto those students and make assumptions of what they're capable of. But each child is so unique, and we should get to take the time to get to know each individual child for who they are before we put our own bias towards them. It can be so harmful to decide things about kids before we even know them. And then lastly, talking about feedback on annual performance evaluations, observation, data. and looking at those to help adjust what you're doing in your teaching practices to help benefit learning. My goal would be to make adjustments in my teaching style when needed, adapting to the current needs of my classroom or the individual students that I'm teaching, and staying up to date on the newest and best methods for teaching each subject and each child in a way that's helpful for them. My goal as a teacher is always to be effective, meaning that my students learn what they're supposed to learn, and hopefully more. Compassionate, meaning that I display qualities of empathy. I'm a good example of a listening ear, a good friend, or an effective communicator. And a lifelong learner, meaning that I'm always showing that I love to learn and hopefully instilling that quality in my students. I'd much rather at the end of the year have a bunch of students that love learning and are excited to continue learning than have students that just have memorized a bunch of knowledge. So those are my thoughts on the dispositions that help teachers be effective and good effective educators.